Welcome back, guys. We are here for Colorless today. We have multicolor left, and that's it. So make sure you guys check out our colors and our introduction. They should all be up. In fact, by the time you're watching this, all of them will be up. Don't forget to leave us a comment and let us know what you think of the set. And welcome back, Yanks.
Glad to be back for the second to last video here with Colorless and see what lands and fixing we got in this set.
All right, let's go ahead and jump in with our Mtgnerdgirl 5 mana for a 5/5 first strike protection for multicolor. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice this unless you discard a card. When you discard a card this way, destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to the mana value of the discarded card. That's a lot of text, but that's pretty sweet. So like a 5 mana 5/5 with first strike and protection from colors, like that's really good. And then I was like, oh, you could discard a card, so it's like not that good. But if each time you discard a card, you're also burning away one of their permanents, then this is this being able to get in, which is dope.
So, well, agreed. This card is just first off very good, but I love this card for some kind of nerdy reasons. One being to throw back to Mtgnerdgirl, which was a 4 mana 4/4, but we had that same ability of you have to discard a card or sacrifice it. It had some other different abilities than this, but that was a bomb back in the day. But also Argentum being the original name of Mirrodin and also the Latin word for silver, and being a plane that was originally like all metal, it's kind of an appropriate name for that card.
Get out of here, dweeb.
Hey, I'll have you know that I learned what the word Sylvan meant for SATs for Magic. So
wow, okay.
It did come up when I took them, and that was why I knew what it meant.
Being a gamer is like really good for things, right? Like your reading level. People are like, how do you type so fast? And I'm like, World of Warcraft raids. Like, I didn't have a headset for a week. I had to type real fast. Yeah. So yes, I agree. But what do you think of the ability on this card? How limiting is this discard ability?
It's to some degree, it's as limiting as you're willing to make it, right? If you're willing to discard expensive cards and you have them, then you can blow up anything. But I don't know. We haven't seen a ramp deck really in this format, and we don't have like the prototype stuff for Brothers War to make it easy to stick a lot of high cost cards in your deck. I don't know. It looks pretty good to me. Yeah,
I mean, I feel like I'm going to want this in a card draw deck. So it lends me towards like a, blue deck. There's quite a few things that draw very nicely. I don't know. In the average deck that doesn't draw a ton, I'm kind of hesitant. I feel like it's just going to like blow itself up.
Yeah, you do.
It doesn't have haste.
You do run into the risk of just having to like not play things in order to have stuff to discard to keep this alive. But
yeah,
you do that long enough, they're going to have to deal with it. 5 mana 5/5 first strike is not easy to deal with, to keep under control on the board without just killing it, at which point you don't have to discard it anymore.
Yeah. The nice thing is if you are discarding your expensive stuff, then you're likely getting rid of all of the things that could deal with this. And I mean, you really only need 4 turns, and then you just get in and they're dead.
But, yeah, and if you're discarding expensive things to blow things up, and then later it makes it easier or less painful to discard lands just to keep this alive, you can kill tokens with lands, which is nice.
Yeah.
So for Mirrodin tokens or mites.
Mirrodin tokens is cute. If the cards that you're discarding are hitting something, then the discard is not so bad because you're not like losing out on that card value. If you're discarding things and it's not hitting stuff, if you're like, discarding a 2 or 3 drop and the only thing they have is higher, then that feels pretty bad. Yeah. I think this is going to be very dependent upon cards that you can draw. And I'm just going to hedge my bets and just say this is a 3.
I think I'm having a little higher at like a 3/5. It definitely has its limitations, but they have to kill it. And it's not that expensive.
Yeah. Pretty close. I will let you take this one.
Atraxa's Skitterfang. 3 mana for a 2/2 Phyrexian insect. Enters the battlefield with 3 oil counters on it. Beginning of combat on your turn, you can remove an oil counter. When you do, target creature you control gains your choice of Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, or Lifelink until end of turn. So the 4 abilities that Atraxa has.
A little bit underrate, but
yeah, 3 mana 2/2 with that can give 3 temporary abilities. Over or 1 per turn over 3 turns without proliferating it. It's okay. I doubt you're going to be giving vigilance too often, but you can get toxic things through with flying or make them trade with death touch, gain life in a race. It does a lot of different things as long as you have something good, something else good on the battlefield.
yeah. The other thing too is that I've been impressed with the amount of things that have proliferate stapled on. Some
Yep.
creatures have it, and I've also been, seeing a ton of red cards. Not a ton, but like there's enough here to where it's not outrageous to think that this is going to have more than 3 counters. Like even if it's just 4, like 4 is easily enough to close out a game if you're giving something flying. That is big enough to where it doesn't already have flying, which means it's like pretty reasonable size. So I think this card is fine. It's still not a great rate on its own, so I'm going to give it a 2/5.
Yeah, I'm right there with that.
All right, we have our first Spell Bomb. We'll go over these kind of quickly. The white Spell Bomb, you can basically pay 2 to cycle it and draw, or you can pay 1 plus the 3. At sorcery speed, you get +2/+2, gains flying, so it's got a built-in Mighty Leap with a draw, so it cycles itself and gives you a Mighty Leap at sorcery speed. I like this one. I think the Mighty Leap is pretty useful. I definitely got by this today when it was in my deck and forgot that it was sorcery speed only. Oops. But I like this one well enough. I think these are all pretty good. 2/5.
Yeah, throwback to the old Spellbomb cycle. We talked about that in the intro video. Like I said there, I do like that the second ability on all of these still lets you draw the card, which was not the case in the previous cycle.
Yep. What do you like it for rating?
I like it at a 2/5.
All right. Dross Skull Bomb. Same, cost as before. Sacrifice it, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and draw a card. So that's some solid card advantage over a couple of turns here. I like that. And also, don't forget, guys, part of the reason we like all of these things too is because there's some artifact synergy in the set. So that's always going to be a nice bonus to be able to trigger some of those things. I like draw a card, get a card back. That's fine. I think these are probably all going to be a 2/5.
Yeah, I'll have to say I like this one better than the last one, but still in that same 2/5 range.
Yeah. For me, I like them the same. Like I do like both of these theme decks. I tend to play the white ones just as much as I play the other ones. So, Droon Mover. Yeah, Droon Mover, 2 mana. Dune Mover. Droon. A Droon is from the Disney movie. What is it called? The Last Dragon.
Oh,
I forget
I've
what
not
it's called.
seen it.
Yeah, it's one of the newer ones. Came out like in the pandemic.
Okay.
The Droon are the bad guys. They turn everybody into statues. So Dune Mover, 2 mana for a 2/1 with Toxic. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land, reveal it, shuffle, and put that on top of your library. This is a great mana fixer. It doesn't ramp or give you card advantage, but it's a nice little body on its own with Toxic, and this will be a great addition if you have a third color in your deck.
Yeah, good in 3-color decks. I don't think I'm likely to play it anywhere else. Maybe in the
Selesnya.
maybe in the most toxic of toxic decks, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah, sometimes you just want your 2-drop to be Toxic and this will be fine, but so I think this is like a Selesnya Orzhov card and nothing else, or 3 colors, right?
Or 3-color, yeah. Yep.
Raya. Ninjari knows that. Yeah, it was Raya and the Last Dragon. All right. The filigree.
What are we rating that card at?
2.
2? Yeah.
The Filigree Silex, 2 mana for a legendary artifact. You can tap, put an oil counter on it. You can tap, sacrifice it, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value equal to the number of oil counters on it. Doesn't say equal to or less than. Ooh. It's like a worse blast zone. Ooh, okay, wait. There's another ability. Maybe it'll save it. Tap, remove 10 oil counters from among it. Tap, remove 10 oil counters from among permanents you control and sacrifice it. Deal 10 damage to any target. No, thank you. Moving on.
Yeah, this is like a sideboard card you see in Constructed, like a changed version of Ratchet Bomb. Well, it's really the same thing except for the last ability.
So it doesn't kill. It takes a bajillion turns to blow up a very specific CMC cost, and it doesn't count as a land. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I'm probably bringing this in against a very heavy token deck. That's about it.
Yeah, I guess Blast Zone can't do tokens, so that's an upside. But like, I don't know. I'm not all that scared of like most things. So
Yeah,
mites also don't let you get through most of your deck, so it's like you're just like a lot less likely to find this. I don't know. Boo! I give it a 1. Furnace Bomb.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say 1/sideboard. Yeah.
Furnace Skull Bomb. Put 2 oil counters on target artifact or creature you control. Draw a card. So I think this one is the most like build aroundy. Like the oil counters just might not be relevant. I hate that this doesn't do something that every deck wants to do.
Yeah. The nice thing about it is it's cheaper, right? It's 1 mana cheaper, and you always have the option to just cycle it, so it's never dead. But yeah, this is the weakest of the 3 so far.
It's never dead, but the issue is that like there's just a lot of decks where it will only be a cycle, even in red. Green wants some oil counters, and then blue wants some oil counters, and red is sort of the facilitator. I've seen a lot more oil counters in red for the flexibility, but a lot less of the oil counter payoffs are actually in red, right? Like, so you have like the Trawler Drake, and you've got like the big Gruul idiot that wants oil count. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that want the oil counters.
Yeah.
This feels like the worst of the bunch.
Yeah, I'm probably putting this at a 2.
Yeah, I think a 2 is fine. It's going to be certainly reasonable in a lot of decks. Someone in chat is also noting, by the way, guys, that the 10 damage from the last one is from all permanents. 10 oil counters in limited is still a lot. If you guys are just joining us, this is a limited set review, so I can't imagine that the 10 counters is going to be worth the card in that slot. I would probably just rather run just about anything. There'll be some decks maybe that can get to that kind of frequently, but that's definitely not the average limited deck.
Yeah.
Graza Unstoppable Juggernaut. That thing's creepy looking. 8 mana for a 7/5. It attacks each combat if able. You can't be blocked by walls. Not relevant in this format, I don't think. And other creatures you control have base power and toughness 5/3 and are juggernauts in addition to their types. Bring on the mites! Yes!
I just enjoy that this card turns everything into a juggernaut.
Yes!
It's just a great use of a juggernaut lord.
I love it. In a mite set, okay, I'm in. It doesn't matter. Like some sets, like let's say maybe I don't know, maybe Gruul will like not be the happiest with this, but most of the other sets will be. Yeah. It says other creatures have base power and toughness 5/3. There are a bunch of little poopy flyers in this set. A bunch of like 1/1 poisony guys, a little 1/1 toxic guys. Ooh, those are going to be good. It doesn't even take away the flying. Yes.
Nope. And of course, they can't be blocked by walls.
Yeah. I don't know if is there any walls?
We've seen no walls.
Yeah.
That's just the Juggernaut text.
Rating wise, I think this is cool. Very expensive, but very cool. It's going to win if you ever land it and have anything on board. So I can't wait to just have like 4 mites on board and my opponent's just like, I gotcha. And then I'm just like, joke's on you, 20 damage, fool. Can't wait. It's so freaking expensive. I don't know. 3?
Like a 3-5, I was going to say, because it will win the game, but you just got to get there. The flexibility that can go in any deck is nice.
Yeah, you have to get there, and you have to have a high creature count.
Yeah. It's not like it's a bad card on its own when it lands. It's still a 7-5.
For 8?
Yeah, trust me, I want creatures. But, yeah. Yeah, maybe it's more closer to a 3 because it is expensive, and it can just die.
It dies to the uncommon red removal as well.
Yeah.
So, either way, we're half point off. Ichor Plate Golem, 3 mana for a 2/3. Whenever it enters the battlefield under your control, if it has one or more oil counters on it, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it has one or more oil counters on it, put an oil counter on it. Creatures with oil counters get +1/+1. Cool. So it adds to your oil counters. So this is really good with like the drakes and stuff. And then it also boosts them. It's an oil lord. I like that.
So it's like Exxon.
Oh, that was just for you, Yanks. Yeah, I'm in for this. It's a vanilla E creature on its own, and then I think that there is a fair amount of synergy here in just about any deck. There's going to be color pairs that just don't want to play this in any shape or form, but yeah, there's also a lot. Gruul, anything with red or green or what's the other one that has some and blue, red, green, blue, really.
Yeah.
And then all the color pairs that match with them. If you have one of those colors in your deck, then this is probably fine.
Yeah. As I said, you'll know when you want to run this card. It is kind of weird looking at the art that it doesn't have oil counter on it itself.
It's covered in oil, right? And it's got a bunch of creepy baby masks on it. Ugh.
Yes.
I feel like in a deck that wants oil counters, this is really cool. It's probably like a 2 or a 3. So I'm just gonna give it a 2/5. I don't think it's quite strong enough to bother with a split.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay. Maze Skull Bomb. This one, same costs, 3 to sack, gives it +3/+3 and gains trample, draw a card. Again, fine with this. This is very on par. 2/5.
Yep, 2/5.
All right. Mirren Safe House, 3 for as long as Mirren Safe House is on the battlefield. It has all activated abilities of all lands in graveyards.
0.
0. Yeah, this is not. This is for constructed.
If somebody can actually find a use for this card in Limited, I'll be impressed.
Monument to Perfection, 2 mana. You can pay 3, tap it, search your library for a basic, sphere, or locus land card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. You can pay 3. Monument to Perfection becomes a 9/9 Phyrexian construct, loses all abilities, and gains Indestructible and Toxic 9. Activate only if there are 9 or more lands with different names among lands. Okay, so this is not okay. 0.
Yeah, I'm just taking a quick check. There are, I believe, 9 spheres you can get.
But some of them are rares.
No, the 9 sphere. Oh yeah, 6. There are 5 common spheres. Yeah, I just wanted to note what there are to get. Some of the spheres, at least the rare ones, if you happen to have them, do have good value. But
you have to have all of them.
I'm not saying I would ever play this card. Although the fact that in older formats it can go get Glimmer Posts is good. Cloud Posts is kind of scary.
Yes, but we do not care about those things here.
No.
Mirror Convert, 2 mana for a 2/1, toxic 1, pay 2 life, and add a mana of any color. Love this card, actually. I used it a fair amount today to ramp to 5 and to fix my blue, because I had like the blue Dominus card, and it just kind of like helped me get there when I was like short that color. And yeah, it was great. And just a 2-drop with Toxic is also sometimes pretty nice to connect with, especially in proliferate decks on the play. I liked this card a lot. I think it's a 3.
Yeah, I guess I haven't played yet, so maybe it's better than I think, but it looks pretty bad to me. Outside of a 3-color deck.
Yeah, I mean, it was just sort of like like on the play, it just made a toxic counter, which I was able to proliferate once or twice. It was, in that way good. It helped me ramp to 4 and 5, which in that way was good. It helped me get my double pip. It didn't do anything great, but it did everything I needed it to do, if that makes sense. So it was very, very smoothing. It made the deck run really nice.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd probably have it as a 2 outside of a 3-color deck, and then in those decks it'll be good.
Fair enough. Mirror Custodian, 3 mana for a 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. Then each opponent may scry 1. No thanks.
Yeah.
It's a 2.
Yep, not unplayable, but not happy with it.
Yeah, it's a filler card if you need it. If you need a 3-drop or an artifact. All right,
Agreed.
Mirror Kinsmith, 4 mana for a 3/1. This better have a fantastic ability. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a mirror card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. The mirrors are not super powerful in this format, so I'm going to say that this is constructed. Not for me.
Yeah. I guess there could be one where you just draft a whole ton of them and just try to get it through with like bad card advantage, but with quantity, but I doubt it.
Most of the mirrors are like the last one where like you didn't even want to play it really. So I don't really see that being a thing. So I'm going to give that a 1.5.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Phyrexian Atlas, 3 mana for an artifact. Tap, add a mana of any color. Corrupted. Every time it taps, each opponent with 3 poison counters loses a life. So great. It's a mana rock that ramps you, fixes you, and if you can get corrupted on them, it puts them on a clock. I actually like that fair amount, and I did run 3 colors in some of my sealed pools and stuff. This seems very playable to me.
Yeah, I would play this in a heartbeat over the mirror.
Same. But my sealed pool didn't have this either.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, this feels like a 3 in the decks that want it.
Yep.
I liked the mirror. It was a 2 mana filler as well. So like sometimes your deck just needs 2 drops.
You need to fill your curve, yeah.
And sometimes your deck just wants a large number of toxic creatures if you have any sort of corrupt abilities. So I wouldn't say I would snap run it. The mirror filled a lot of decks that want all of those things. So I like this card well enough. I think they're both a 3 for me.
Fair enough. I like this at a 3.
All right. Prophetic Prism. We've seen this card a lot. 2 mana, draw a card when it ETBs. You can filter 1 land for any color. So this is nice if you have artifacts and you have more than 1 color artifact triggers. So that's a fine card. 2/5.
Yeah.
All right. Prosthetic Injection. 1 mana for an equipment. Equipped creature gets a big booty and some toxic. Equip 1. It's a cheap equip cost. It's cheap all around. It's got some booty. I don't want to say it's unplayable because the rate seems there for what it does, but like I don't know that I want what it does.
Yeah, I think I'm just sticking this in a deck if I really care about toxic or just for some reason need a cheap artifact.
Or for some reason, like you just need some booty against like maybe an aggressive Boros deck or something.
Yeah, or I guess if you're drafting like that's name, it's like Jorkadine, and you just want a massive equipment.
Yeah, that can equip reasonably cheaply. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think this is like a 2. It's like not a bad rate, but it just doesn't do enough to make me happy.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Rib Skiff, 4 mana for a 4/4 crew 3 vehicle. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, and it has Toxic too. This card does a lot. I like it. I played it when I had it in my sealed pool, and it was fine.
Yeah, this card seems very good.
I can't believe it draws when it ETBs. That's fantastic.
Yeah, was it like Bomat Bazaar Barge last time we saw a vehicle that did that? Like in Kaladesh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and that costs 5.
Rating-wise, I like this. This feels like a 3 to me.
3, yeah.
All right, Soulless Jailer, 2 mana for an 0/4. permanent cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast non-creature spells from graveyards or exile. The not being able to cast things from exile makes this a really sweet sideboard card in constructed things. I like that. It's very flexible, but it's not for main deck limited.
No, this is a hate card for decks that aren't white and can't play Rest in Peace.
Absolutely. So this is a 1. It's a constructed piece. Staff of Completion, 3 mana for tap, pay a life, destroy target permanent you own. Ooh. Tap, pay 2 life, add a mana of any color. Ooh. Pay 3, proliferate. Tap, pay 4, draw a card. Maybe. Pay 5, untap it. It does a lot, but the things that are cheap are not things I want to do.
I mean, I get what they're going for, right? It's the Phyrexian version of Staff of Domination, but just terrible.
Yeah.
Why am I destroying my own? Why am I destroying my own permanent, except for the one that you die eventually?
So if you pay 3 mana and then you want like draw 2, it's a divination that also makes you pay 8 life. Blech.
Over 2 turns.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm gonna. It's flexible in all the wrong ways. So let's.
Which of these terrible options would you like to choose?
Yeah, this is a 1.5 for me.
I might even kind of want to just say it's a 1, but I guess there are some uses.
Surgical Skull Bomb, 3. The sacrifice was cheap. Sacrifice your own permanent. There's a deck in there. Pay 3, sacrifice it. Target creature, bounce. Ooh, return target creature to its owner's hand, draw a card. I like this one. This might be my favorite.
Yeah, this is definitely my favorite.
3.
Yep.
All right, Sword.
See, the blue ones are always the best.
Sword of Forge and Frontier. I died to this today. 3 mana, protection from red and green, +2/+2. My deck was 90% green. And then when it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. And you may play an additional land, which is nice. Equip 2, cheap equip cost. This card is a 5. It doesn't make a huge impact, but it's also like hard to remove. So like it stays around and becomes annoying.
Yeah, you have to remember what you're comparing this to. If I'm comparing this to the Sword Cycle, I'm not that excited by this one. When I'm comparing this to just a 3 mana equipment and limited, this card is absurd.
Yes. Within the set that it is in, yeah. We were talking about the Sword on stream one of the days, and everybody's like, "Oh, this sucks." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
it's not Fire and Ice. It's not Feast and Famine.
Those aren't in the set, so I don't give a shit.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not 2 of the best equipment ever printed. Sure, it's like
not
6.
not relevant.
Yeah.
So either way, it is fantastic. Table of Completion, 2 mana. You can put an oil tablet, whatever. It's on a table.
It is on a table.
I'm tired and I really have to pee.
I mean, it could be French. It could be tablet.
I've been trying to like burn through these because like it's getting to the point where my bladder hurts. Sorry, overshare. Tablet of Completion is a 2 mana tap. Put an oil counter on Tablet of Completion. Tap, add a colorless. Activate only if Tablet of Completion has 2 or more oil counters. And you can also pay 1, tap, draw a card. Activate only if it has 5 or more counters. It's a little slow, but, you know. I still don't. Yeah, I mean, it's like a 2. I'm just going to give it a 2.
Yeah, I don't love it, but I can definitely see this getting out of control in the right oil counter deck.
Yeah, especially if you can proliferate them. If you can help snowball it in any way, you know, and even if like you draw the worst end of the deck that doesn't get to do that, like it's still gonna get there over time. It's not a ton of like, it's slow, but it doesn't ask a lot of you to just tap it for a couple of turns, and then it's got some good top end.
Yeah, if you get enough things on it so that after you can get it to 2 counters, you actually legitimately get the option of ramp or accelerate to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Where you might still be able to climb towards 5 with proliferating, even if and get the ramp at the same time. That's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So rating wise, what were you thinking?
I think I've got like a 2/5.
Okay. All right, now we have the Zenith Chronicler, a 3/1 for 2 mana. That says whenever a player casts their first multicolor spell each turn, each player draws a card.
Each other player. Each other player.
Each other player, yeah. So I like this. You can control when you play yours, and you kind of make them play things awkwardly. I played this in one of my decks today, and it felt pretty good. So I think this is like, there's enough multicolor cards with all the rares and stuff, and then the signposts. I like this at a slight hedge. I'll give it a 2/5.
Yeah, this is the kind of card you're going to put in your deck a lot, and it's going to be actually pretty good in a draft that goes wrong, where you don't see those signposts and you don't end up with the powerful multicolored spells and you're looking for playables. You look for a 2-mana 3/1, but this actually could be really good in that deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Rating-wise, what do you think?
Yeah, 2/5.
All right. We made it to the end of the colorless, but we forgot the lands. God dang it. I have to pee. I forgot about the lands. I thought we were almost there.
You're racing through it, but we still got a bunch to go.
Oh, no. Okay, it's too funny. I'm not gonna stop. Red Furnace comes this cycle. ETB's tapped, adds a red. You can sacrifice, draw a card. I think these are all good. We're gonna call these 2/5s.
Yep, there's one of these for each color. They all do the exact same thing.
All right, Blackcleave Cliffs. These are the rares. They ETB tapped unless you control 2 or fewer. It's the fast lands. These are, they're duels. They're duels that are not that great. So I think these are always 2/5s.
Yeah, everybody's excited for these cards, but that's because they're for constructed formats where A, they're bringing the price down, and B, introducing the Pioneer.
Yeah, Blackcleave Cliffs got up to like $70 at one point. I was very happy because I got mine for like 12, and then I think I sold them at like 40. Very good. Very happy. Okay, Copperline Gorge, same thing, 2/5. Dark Slick Shores, same thing, 2/5. This one is another one of the tap sacrifice lands. Now, it's important to keep these, in mind when how important is it that you're hitting your untapped lands on 4 and 5 will determine how many of these you want to play. I think I like 2 in just about every deck because I like to be able to play these tapped turn 1 and then later get little card advantage. Sometimes that extra card draw makes all the difference in the world, so I like them all at a 2/5.
Yeah, the ability on these cards are better than this sort of cycle usually is, but that's because they're monocolor instead of fixing.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of times they are fixing and then you sack whatever to do the thing, yeah.
Yeah, and you might get to draw a card, but those tend to cost like 4 or 5 to do that instead of 2.
Or sometimes it's 4 mana to scry.
Yes.
We saw that like in Strixhaven. So here's another one of the draw, 2/5s. Another draw, 2/5. Now we're getting into some other stuff. So we had the fast lands and the draw lands. Now we've got the spheres. The other ones are spheres as well, technically. This one taps for a colorless, doesn't need to be tapped. Add 1 mana of any color, activate only if it entered the battlefield this turn. Okay, kind of neat, I guess. You can pay 3 and poop out a 1/1 Phyrexian Might with Toxic. I like that. That's a great little pooper land.
Yeah, as long as the format's not too fast for this sort of engine, this is going to be great. Yeah,
and in at least sealed, I played 2 sealeds. It felt a lot slower than I was expecting, so I think this is a good card. I'm going to give it a 3/5. It's probably a little too slow to be a 4, but I think that's very solid in any 2-color deck.
Yeah, and the fact that you at least get 1 turn of colored mana is a nice little hedge here.
Yep, absolutely. Do you agree 3/5?
3/5, yep.
All right, next land, the next rare sphere. It enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters, taps for a colorless, remove an oil counter from it, put an oil counter on target artifact or creature you control, activate as a sorcery. So 2-color decks that don't have like a very strict mana base, you can tap this to like help add to your other things that want counters, which there are a few. Something as simple as the Trawler Drake. And the cool thing is that this also enters with a counter. Enters with 2. So you can put 1 counter onto your Trawler Drake and then just wait for your proliferate triggers, and you can just keep kind of milking the value there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be really good in the Girl deck, as long as your mana requirements aren't too heavy. because you can put something. It basically gives you 2 permanents with oil counters on it, and that a lot of times you want to count in that set in that color pair.
Awesome. Rating wise, I think it's probably average of a 3. Some decks will play it and it's got a few things that want to do with, work with it. And then some decks are going to play it and it's going to play way up because it just has everything that wants to do with it.
Yeah, I think I'm a little lower. I think I'm at 2.5 on this, but I'm still going to play it in almost any non-3 color deck.
All right. Next, Sphere taps for Colorless. Add 1 mana of any color for 1, so you filters, or X and tap. It becomes a copy of target non-token artifact you control with mana value X. That includes creatures?
Yep.
Okay. It can copy spell bombs?
Yeah, it can copy spell bombs all the way up to the Juggernaut. Although that might have been a legend, and that would be bad.
Yeah. I think this is fine. Happy to play this if I have any artifacts, but you need artifacts. So, I mean, the rating of this depends on the rating of the artifacts in your deck, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm probably fine to put this in pretty much any deck because it is fixing. Bad fixing, but it is fixing.
Someone in chat's saying make note of the legend rule. I don't know how relevant that is in limited.
Don't copy the Juggernaut.
Sure. I think that's gonna be like the only thing that's relevant there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I'm just gonna give it a 2.
To be half point up on, I suppose half point down last one, half point up on this one. I'm at 2.5 on this.
Fair enough. An easy one. Just a fast land. Fixing is always good. Helps with 3 colors. Also just helps with 2 colors. 2.5, 2.5, Seachrome Coast, I should say the names, I guess. And the Razor Verge Thicket. And now we've got the next rare sphere, the Seed Core. Taps for a colorless. You can tap, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a Phyrexian creature spell. And if you have corrupted, target 1/1 creature gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Activate only if you have a poison counter. So that's for mites, which is cool.
Yeah, so somebody posted this on Twitter when this was spoiled. I think there are only 9 creatures in the set that aren't Phyrexians.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
So I think this basically fixes for all creatures.
Okay.
Give or take. There's a couple that aren't. I think it was 9, but it's right around that number.
So basically a free fixer for any splash creature almost, but then also just bumps your mites.
Yeah.
Cool. This feels fine. Is this like a 3 in the average deck?
Yeah, I think it's a 3 in the... Yeah, I think 3 makes sense. Your mite decks are going to be white a lot of the time, so and white-black is where you're looking to be corrupted, so that's works well there as well.
All right, the Surgical Bay, another tap sack, draw a card, 2.5. And now we have Terramorphic Expanse. This is the sort of, tap, search your library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped. Evolving Wilds card. These are always good. These are always like a 2/5. It's really nice in 3 color decks. Good thinning and fixing in even 2 color decks. I'm happy to run one of these most of the time.
Yeah, this isn't like a 3 color set per se, so it's not as valuable as it would have been in like a Streets of New Capenna or something like that, but it's always nice to have this available in the set.
Yeah, I think that these signpost cards are like, some of them are pretty good. I can see myself being very much in like a Gruul deck that is very high on like toxic cards, and you want to splash like one of the just corrupt payoffs or something like that.
Yep.
And because all of the abilities are shared amongst 3 color pairs, it is kind of interesting. So like multiple decks are kind of wanting to do the same thing as what the other color pairing with that is trying to do. So for example, green-white is very corrupt, and then so is like green-red. So getting to sort of double dip into those payoff cards is really nice, and I can see picking up Terramorphic Expanses very early.
Yeah, that's definitely true. The multicolor cards did seem pretty powerful.
Rating-wise, these are usually 2/5s or 3s.
Yeah, I think it's probably a 2/5.
I threw in these colorless lands probably because I didn't know how badly I was going to have to pee at this time, but also just because I thought the art was pretty cool. Definitely not my favorite art from what's come out. They've had some really cool ones in every set forever now. So they're kind of getting less special, but I think these ones are really cool. They feel very like Keldheim-y to me still, like that sort of like metal.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
And I also am just a sucker for the Phyrexian language. It looks so cool on cards.
It does. I went back and took a quick look. There it was 9 creatures that are not Phyrexian, and 3 of them are artifacts, so you don't need to fix for them. So it's only 6 creatures, really,
Great.
that can't cast.
That makes it even easier to just play in any deck.
Yep.
Unless you're splashing removal. But if you're splashing the payoffs for, like we were just talking, then great.
Agreed.
So I think this one, like the white, looks like it's got the little Elishnorn thing there. That's cool. This is creepy eyeballs.
Yeah, blue's theme was eyes like white's was teeth. It wasn't as gross as white. It wasn't as noticeable, but yeah, the eyes were definitely the Jingatax's blue theme.
This one looks like some like Grim Reapers. That's really cool.
Yep.
This is the most like simple one. I like this one the least, I think, so far. This red one. Still nice.
Yeah. I don't know what to make quite of red. I mean, red is Urabrask, but it's kind of the rebels color, so maybe that's why it's not as defined in terms of Phyrexian.
And the final one, I like this one with the trees.
Yeah, that represents the green sphere as the hunter's maze. So kind of weaving a forest in there.
And that's it. That's all we have for colorless. What do you think, Yanks?
Colorless cards are good. We not as many of them as in some previous trips to Mirrodin, which I think is a good thing because that tends to coalesce into very replayable games when everybody's just going after the same artifacts.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have too much to say, mostly because I have to pee. Thank you guys so very, very much for watching. Make sure you guys leave us a comment down below, and Multicolor and all of the colors and introduction are already up, so please go check those out, especially the introduction, because it'll give you guys all the details you guys need for the new set. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. All right, I'm done recording.